Welcome forward with Chapter 4, page 28, Jesus' Course of Miracles, entitled The Root of All Evil. The Bible says that you should go with a brother twice as far as he asks. It certainly does not suggest that you set him back on his journey. Devotion to a brother cannot set you back either. It can lead only to mutual progress. The result of genuine devotion is inspiration, a word which, properly understood, is the opposite of fatigue. To be fatigued is to be disinspired or dispirited, but to be inspired is to be in the spirit. To be egocentric is to be dispirited, but to be self-centered is the right sense to be inspired, or in the soul. The truly inspired are enlightened and cannot abide in darkness. You can speak from the soul or from the ego, precisely as you choose. If you speak from the soul, you have chosen to be still and to know that I am God. These words are inspired because they come from knowledge. If you speak from the ego, you are disclaiming knowledge itself of affirming it, and are thus dispiriting yourself. Do not embark on foolish journeys, because they are indeed in vain. The ego may desire them, but the soul cannot embark on them because it is forever unwilling to depart from its foundation. The journey to the cross should be the last foolish journey for every mind. Do not dwell upon it, but dismiss it as accomplished. If you can accept it as your own last foolish journey, you are also free to join my resurrection. Human living has indeed been needlessly wasted in a repetition compulsion. It reenacts the separation, the loss of power, the foolish journey of the ego in an attempt at reparation, and finally, the crucifixion of the body or death. Repetition compulsions can be endless unless they are given up by an act of will. Do not make the pathetic human error of clinging to the old rugged cross. The only message of the crucifixion was the one that we can overcome the cross. Unless you do so, you are free to crucify yourself as often as you choose. But this is not the gospel I intend to offer you. You have another journey to undertake, and if you will read these lessons carefully, they will help you to prepare you to undertake it. Right teaching and right learning. We have spoken of many different human symptoms, and this level there is almost an endless variation. There is, however, only one cause of them all. The authority problem is the root of all evil. Money is but one of its many reflections, and is a reasonable representative example of the kind of thinking which stems from it. The idea of buying and selling implies precisely the kind of exchange that the soul cannot understand at all, because its supply is always abundant, and all its demands are fully met. Every symptom which the ego has made involves a contradiction in terms. This is because the mind is split between the ego and the soul, so whatever the ego makes is incomplete and contradictory. This untenable position is the result of authority problem, which, because it accepts the one inconceivable thought as its premise, can only produce ideas which are inconceivable. The term profess is used quite frequently in the Bible. To profess is to identify with an idea and offer the idea to others to be their own. The idea does not lessen, it becomes stronger. A good teacher clarifies his own ideas and strengthens them by teaching them. Teachers and pupils are alike in the learning process. They are in the same order of learning, and unless they share their lessons, they will lack conviction. A good teacher must believe in the ideas which he professes, but he must meet another condition. He must also believe in the students to whom he offers his ideas. Many stand guard over their ideas because they want to protect their thought system as they are, and learning means change. Change is always fearful to the separated ones because they cannot conceive of it as change towards healing the separation. They always perceive it as a change towards further separation because the separation was their first exchange of change. You believe that if you allow no change to enter into your ego, your soul will find peace. This profound confusion is possible only if one maintains that the same thought system can stand on two foundations. Nothing can reach the soul from the ego, and nothing from the soul can strengthen the ego or reduce the conflict within it. The ego is a contradiction. Man's self and God's self are in opposition. They are opposed in creation, in will, and in outcome. They are fundamentally irreconcilable because the soul cannot perceive and the ego cannot know. They are therefore not in communication and can never be in communication. Nevertheless, the ego can learn because its maker can be misguided, but cannot make the totality lifeless out of the life given. The soul need not be taught, but the ego must. The ultimate reason why learning is perceived as frightful is because learning does lead to the relinquishment, not destruction, of the ego in the light of the soul. This is the change the ego must fear, because it does not share my charity. My lesson was like yours, and because I learned it, I can teach it. I never attack your egos, but I do try to teach you how their thought system arose. When I remind you of your truth, your creation, your egos cannot but respond with fear. And thus ends page 28 of chapter 4.